Hey guys, it's Ryan with AIinsidertips.com, and in this quick video, I'm going to be covering the release of Llama 3.1, which is the newest and most advanced model that we've seen yet from Meta or Meta AI. I did a video about 3 months ago covering the release of Llama 3. Unfortunately, I had a little over 100 views, so if you guys could give this video a like and we could beat that last one, I would really appreciate that. But besides the point here, now Llama 3.1 is the most updated version of Llama 3. And on their page at llama.meta.com, they say the following: the open source AI model you can fine tune, distill, and deploy anywhere. And there's a lot of cool features and different advancements I'm excited to dive into here in this quick video. But the first thing to note is that this is now arguably the best open source AI model available. And if you're not familiar with the term open source in terms of AI models, this essentially means that this is 100% free to use. Now you might think, well, GPT-4o, GPT-4o mini, or Claude 3, there's variations of Claude 3 that are free to use right now. But when it comes to using the API key and building applications using AI, this is 100% free. The models from OpenAI and Anthropic, you still have to pay to use those API keys. So that is the most, probably the biggest differentiator from Llama versus the other models out there, is that it is open source. And there's 3 different iterations of Llama 3.1. There's 405B, 70B, and 8B. I believe this stands for context, so 8 billion, 70 billion, and 405 billion. So obviously the 405 billion is the most advanced model and most knowledgeable model, where the 8 billion is kind of their lightweight model, similar to what we see in like maybe a GPT 3.5 or a Claude 3 Haiku, something of that nature. But here's some interesting stuff I'm going to dive into here. So key capabilities. So here's some of the advancements that they've made with this Llama 3.1 update. So tool use, you can upload a data set, analyze it, prompt model to plot graphs, and fetch market data. So this is a really cool little feature here. And then it has multilingual agents. So you can, prompt translate the story of Hansel and Gretel into Spanish. So that's the example that they gave here. There's a lot more sophistication now when it comes to image generation inside the Meta AI platform using Llama 3.1. And you'll see here very closely, there's an option to animate. So I'm going to show you can actually animate images now using Llama 3.1 inside the Meta AI user face. And so here's some complex reasoning. So it gives some other things. There's a coding assistant update as well. And there's all sorts of other details here, and I'll be sure to leave a link to this in the video description below. I quickly want to cover the benchmarks, as I believe there may be some flaws here. Guys, always take these benchmarks with a grain of salt. I don't care what OpenAI says about their latest model, what Anthropic says about their latest model, or what Meta is saying about their latest model. Because right here, if I click benchmarks, they're essentially saying that Llama 3.1, 8B, 7B, and 405B, so over here in particular, is outperforming Claude 3.5 Sonnet on various benchmarks. Now, I'm not into the weeds of AI. I'm not a developer, and this may be true to some extent. But just from personal use, guys, I would suggest using Claude 3.5 Sonnet for real-world applications when it comes to text outputs. I think the outputs are still a lot more realistic and well thought out. Just my opinion from using all these different models. And so, yeah, it talks about pricing here for different things. And there's all this other information going on this page. So, again, check this out in the video description below for more details. Now, the important part here is, how do you access this, right? So if you go to meta.ai, you don't even have to be logged in to start using Llama 3, and it just prompts you here. So you can start asking it. You can click one of these pre-configured prompts, create a packing list for my trip, and it'll start just generating text prompts like we see in a typical LLM. So you can just start using it right here in this chatbot interface. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So if you click Imagine, this is Meta AI's image generator. Now, before you do this, you do have to be signed into a Facebook or Instagram account in order to generate images inside the platform. As you'll see, I'm signed in here on the bottom left. So if you click Imagine, the very first thing I notice is that there's way more pre-configured prompts, meaning that there's like 20 options here where I can just click to get inspiration from something or just generate an image right away if I want to. So that's really cool. But let's go ahead and actually click one of these. Let's click Olympics and Outer Space. And so then it generates 4 images at once, which is really cool, right? So if you use DALL-E inside ChatGPT, for instance, you'll usually get 1 image per output. Claude can't even generate images right now. So this is really cool. Now, the really cool update right here is Animate. So if I click Animate, It's going to take a few seconds for this to configure properly. But if you click animate, this is going to take these images and make them kind of a very short form video, right? So notice how there's movements here. Again, that's like a 1 second, movement, 1 second video, but still really cool how we can now animate these images. The biggest thing I will say though is if you click one and you want to download it, so if you click into an image, you can download it up here, you can send it, you can bookmark it, do whatever, but notice there's a watermark on the bottom left versus, DALL-E, and these other AI image generators, they probably have invisible watermarks somewhere, but Meta AI, as far as I know, is the only AI image generator that has that visible watermark. So always be cautious of that if you want to download and use this for actual business or personal use case. But that is a really cool update here, is this image generator and also the animation. Now, I did compare this really quick to the Bing image creator, which you can use for free, and this is powered by DALL-E. So it's bing.com/images/create. And I did want to compare just a few different outputs here, and I already did this before I started, just so I'm not, wasting your guys' time. But I did an example prompt here of dogs playing in the snow. And if I come back, I believe I had something ready to go here. Yep. So if you come back, here's the iterations, or here's the outputs from Meta AI of dogs playing in the snow. Again, I can animate this if I want, which makes it really cool. But I believe that these outputs are better than what you get from DALL-E inside the Bing image creator. Not bad, honestly. And if you click animate, I'm sure this will be even better. But if I go back to DALL-E here, DALL-E it's not very realistic in my opinion. Yeah, sure, this one right here might look okay. But if you do something more sophisticated, like a detailed New York City prompt, you'll see here it looks very cartoonish, animated, futuristic. Not very realistic in my opinion. It looks like it's, animated to some extent or whatever. And if you come back to Meta AI and I do the same exact prompt, it still kind of looks somewhat animated, but you'll notice here on the bottom, this image looks pretty realistic in my opinion. I mean, that's just quickly generating something from a text prompt I got from ChatGPT for a more advanced image. So long story short, guys, sorry for rambling on this. Very, very impressed with the advanced image generation capabilities that I'm seeing using Llama 3.1 inside Meta AI. Now, there's a whole other article here that explains more details on this 3.1 update. I'll leave a link to that in the description if you're curious. Some other ways you can access this model if you don't want to go to meta.ai is you can go to huggingface.co/chat, also known as Hugging Chat. I believe you have to sign in with a free account. But if you see this here, your current model, you can use Llama 3. And if I click the settings icon, it has two variations of Llama 3, the 70B and 405B. I'm not sure if it has the 8B or not, but you can use other things like Mistral and some other models here as well. But that's just another option. Same with what's called Grok, GROQ.com. You have to be signed into a free account. You'll notice here if I click the drop down, you can also use Llama 3.1 up here. All three variations of Llama 3.1, it looks like. Older versions of Llama 3. So just another cool little tool that you guys can start exploring. So one of the creators I follow, his name's Rowan Chung. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. He actually did a video interview with Mark Zuckerberg where Mark Zuckerberg talks about Llama 3. He talks about all of this in more detail, which is really cool to see. So I'll be sure to leave a link to this in the description below if you guys are curious to hear some of the thoughts from Mark Zuckerberg himself. Really cool interview, and I'd suggest listening. LM Studio commented on this. I actually did a video tutorial on how to install LM Studio for your own personal LLM on your hard drive where you don't actually need internet to access and start using AI. But you can only use open source models. So Llama 3.1 you can use inside a personal LLM on your hard drive from LM Studio. But overall, guys, that's it. That's just a very quick recap on Llama 3.1. Very curious to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments. I especially want to hear your guys' take on these benchmarks. Let me know what you think. Have you tested Llama 3.1 against GPT-4 Mini, GPT-4o, Claude 3.5 Sonnet? Is this true what Meta is saying here on their benchmarks page? I don't know. I'm always a little suspicious of how they're getting these scores, but that applies to all big AI companies for that matter. So be sure to subscribe to my channel at AI Insider Tips if you haven't already. Like this video. Again, comment below. I want to get in some discussion with you guys in the comment section below. Also, be sure to visit my website at AI Insider Tips, where I've written versions of all the different topics that I cover. And that's it, guys. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you spending your time with me. And I hope you all have a great day.